Hi, everybody. My name is Neil Thompson. I am the founder of Teach the Geek. It's an online platform for science and engineering professionals. The first offering of the platform is Teach the Geek to Speak. It's an online public speaking course. To find out more about it, you can go to teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. Today, my guest is Claude Jones, and he's a man of many talents. His day job is as site lead at Walmart Labs. I'm pretty sure he's not the Walmart employee that wears the blue apron, but I probably could ask him about that. He's also the founder of San Diego Tech Hub and the Elevate. He's also the founder of Elevate and also the Practical Leadership Guy. This guy's pretty busy outside of his day job. His talent for tech and public speaking is truly inspiring, and I should know because I've actually heard him speak several times now. He's a very passionate guy. I look forward to learning more about his involvement in tech, his motivation for all his extracurricular endeavors, and his passion for public speaking. Welcome to Teach the Geek Interviews, Claude.
Hey, really appreciate you having me, Neil.
Great. So first question, where did your interest in tech come from?
You know, my interest in tech came from creativity. When I was about 12 years old, I was always fascinated with computers, graphics, just design in general. And when I'd gone to college, Java applets had come out. And I'm like, man, I want to do that. I want to sort of build web pages. And, I picked up a book, started learning how to code simple HTML and CSS. And, before you know it, I was into programming, just creating things. So it was another outlet and a form of creativity.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's cool. Man, I have exactly the opposite, I guess, interests, I guess, both. I barely passed my first year computer class. And we were using, I think, C, programming in C. And up until that point, I'd never really done anything with a computer I guess maybe just check email and maybe write stuff in WordPerfect. I never programmed in my life. And it showed in that first class. I remember the academic advisor, he brought me into his office and he said, you barely passed this class. You want to take it again? And I was like, nah, I'm cool. I continue on in the program with the grade I have. And he's like, yeah. I said, let's keep it going, man. I ain't doing this shit again. So good on you for loving that kind of stuff, man. Someone's got to do it, that's for sure. I mentioned in the intro that you work at Walmart Labs, and I'm guessing you're not the type that, as a site lead, you're not putting on the apron telling people what the mayonnaise is in the store. So what exactly do you do at Walmart Labs? What's your job entail?
Well, a lot of people don't know that Walmart Labs actually has a tech arm. And so, Walmart Labs, really builds out technology for the Walmart stores, their online e-commerce. We're getting into voice commerce and other avenues. And our goal is really to help leverage technology to streamline the customer experience. Now, my day job, as a senior director of engineering, I'm responsible for three core areas within customer technology. We've built a lot of in-house tools, and one of the tools we've built is an A/B testing platform. So those familiar with A/B testing, it allows us to control, one variation to sort of a control. So a green button versus a blue button, which one performs better, adds conversion to the user. We focus on quality automation, and so this is about ensuring that, as a product that gets deployed to production, that it's functionally complete, that it is performing the way it needs to perform. We're now starting to get into a lot of accessibility testing, and so really helping to map that out. And then the last suite of tools that I manage are sort of site curation tools, and this ranges from anything from controlling page layouts to modules on the page, dealing with training personalized algorithms, to building out affiliate tools and voice commerce type tools. So definitely have our hands in a lot of various things at Walmart.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that Walmart was doing all that stuff kind of behind the scenes. And as I said, when you think of Walmart, you think of going into a store and buying some produce or a vacuum or something like that. But pretty cool that Walmart's involved in tech as well.
Yeah, it is interesting. And you mentioned going to the store. One of the other things that we run out of the Carlsbad office is development of our online grocery app. And so, if you're on Walmart.com or grocery.com, you actually use a native app to order your groceries online. We have a team of product, UX, and engineers that work on that. We have some teams that work on in-store availability, so a lot of machine learning, work that's going on there. So we got a lot kind of happening end to end from an omni-channel perspective out in Carlsbad.
Wow! So you can order your groceries online, even produce.
Yeah, man, the whole shebang. I mean, you could go and think about it just like having a virtual store. Literally, you can go grocery shopping online, pick your groceries. You don't have to walk around the house with a pad and pencil, going around. And then you could actually pick a time and a slot on when you want to pick up your groceries, and you could drive to the grocery store, park inside a pickup aisle, and get your groceries, have them put in the back of your car, and off you go.
Wow, really? The reason I asked about produce is sometimes you want to check that stuff out before you take it. Whenever I go to the grocery store, I gotta look at the apples before I put them in my bag. But if someone's just packing stuff for me, I'll be like, what about all the apples they put? These are dented ass apples. I want these.
Hey, I feel you, man. Now Walmart has trained professionals that are, that it's a customized picker. So they're making sure that the tomatoes and the apples, man, aren't bruised or aren't spoiled. So, and when they do pull up, they check things, right? So if there's something that doesn't right or to your liking, they'll go through and replace it. But yeah, that is a concern, like making sure that, no one's going to pick that perfect apple, perfect tomato, perfect banana like you would.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mentioned also in the intro that in addition to your day job, you do quite a number of things outside of it. And I know you from San Diego Tech Hub, but you also have the Elevate Foundation, and you also have Practical Leadership Guy. So let's start with Practical Leadership Guy. What exactly is that, and what do you hope that people get from it?
Yeah, with the Practical Leadership Guy, one of the things that I was really passionate about is, to be honest with you, man, I had some terrible bosses kind of going in my career. And
okay.
I always thought, man, if I was in a position of leadership, I would do the opposite of what these individuals would do.
Okay.
And, the more that I've been able to, whether it was a leadership role, a team lead, I've had the ability to sort of learn ultimately that people want to be treated like people. That's it. And so the Practical Leadership Guy is all about just teaching leadership from a practical point of view, like common sense leadership. So if I'm talking to someone, it's not a one size fits all type of thing. And so it just talks about respect, engagement, communication, hoping to build trust. And so the Practical Leadership Guy is the ability for me to take my life experiences, give back sort of pro bono, whether that be, talking with people as a life coach, hoping to do any sort of speaking engagement just to kind of share the knowledge that I have. And then I write a lot of blogs that talk about leadership. And at the end of the day, my role is that if I could share information that could help elevate, your life and the things that you need to do to make you a better person, then I've done my job and be able to kind of pass things forward.
Man, let me tell you, the having a crappy boss, I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to. I remember the first boss I had, and because it was my first boss, I had no point of reference as to how being an employee of somebody would work. But unfortunately, it was his first time being a boss. So it was my first time having a boss. Yeah. It was his first time being a boss. And I thought I was doing well. Then we come into this performance review, and then he just completely shit on me. I was just like, where the hell are all these coming from? But apparently I wasn't showing initiative. I wasn't suggesting experiments to do because I was working as a research associate at the time as my first job. And I was finding all this out at the performance review. And so luckily the HR, I guess, representative was also in on the interview. And she told my boss, or she asked him, like, did you tell him any of this stuff beforehand? Like, he's like, no. It's like, well, rule number one, I mean, you kind of have to tell him. He shouldn't be finding all this stuff out now. Like, he's looking like completely shell-shocked. But, we're cool now. And as I said, it was his first time being a boss. I kind of, he gets a pass on that one. But, man, that was rough.
Yeah, I had a story like that, man. The first time that I was put in a leadership position and I had my team, I've never wrote a performance training whatsoever. And I remember giving this review to this person, and I just told the truth. I didn't really talk to him, but I laid it all out about what he needed to do. Things were going on. He wrote back, "Claude, this is the worst review I've ever had in my life. I've been at this company for 9 years, and what are you doing?" He says, "Change all this. This isn't right." So it was an eye-opening experience for me as part of my career that constant feedback and communication is key. Just as you just mentioned, you can't go around, and so many managers do this. It's like you have two meetings, right? A mid-year review and an end-of-year review. And, whatever, you have this recency bias that ends up happening, that whatever you did last is what they remember of you. And that's what kind of dictates your performance review sometimes. So, yeah, man, it's management is a crazy thing. It definitely takes another level of skill set and patience to do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even thinking about all the people that have become bosses that I've known of, managers, directors, that type of thing, a lot of times these companies will promote people based on just they've been there a while and they're really good, individual contributors. But just because you're a good individual contributor does not mean you're going to be a good manager. I mean, one has really nothing to do with the other. When you're a
That's
boss,
right.
you have to manage other people's stuff and other people that got stuff going on at home. You gotta maybe hear about that last stuff. And I was just like, man, I'll never want to be in that position. I'll stay an individual contributor forever. So kudos to you for wanting to even manage people, because I don't want to deal with people's stuff, man. I got my own stuff. And so, I also mentioned the Elevate Foundation. And so what exactly is that?
Yeah, so the Elevate Foundation was an organization that my wife and I started. And, the reason why we started this is, I didn't really come from much growing up. And, I had a really, really rough childhood. And I had individuals that had sort of stepped into my life that really elevated me, really picked me up at a time that I was low, and, created a path for an opportunity that I was able to sort of walk through. And, I'm doing pretty well for myself now. And I told myself, well, instead of giving a whole bunch of money to the government, what if I were to take money and give it to individuals that really need it? And I could see where that money's going. And so my wife and I made a vow that every year, and we've been doing this for the last 4 years, that we would take about $20,000 of our own funds, identify nonprofit and charitable organizations that range from helping families that need help to working with underrepresented or distressed youth, or doing things that are helping the environment. And we go in, we write a check, but as part of our giving back, we want to be actively involved in the activity that's going on. So whether we're sitting down, mentoring, speaking, giving our time back to students or the organization, and the idea is that we want to encourage other people to do the same. So our motto is that our goal is to help rebuild communities, uplift individuals, and inspire others to do the same, help pay it forward. But it's been a blessing, man. I will tell you, nothing makes me happier when I can go in, and when you look at someone that feels like they have no hope, and if you have the means, whether that be financially or just your time or knowledge to share, and you see how it transforms their life, that to me, just keeps me going every morning, man. And, that's why I do Elevate Foundation. That's also why I do the Practical Leadership Guy. It's just to help other people move forward.
Wow, that's very commendable. You're not just you're not just a bank account, but you actually roll up your sleeves and get dirty and actually help people more actively. I commend you for that. And so, so as I said earlier, I know you from San Diego Tech Hub, and you've had a number of you have your monthly meetings, and I go to them when I can. So what exactly, when you put together San Diego Tech Hub, what was your goal in putting it together, and what do you hope people get out of it?
Yeah, my original goal was I was tired of hearing people compare San Diego to Silicon Valley or Seattle or Dallas. I was sick of it. And I'm just the type of individual that, if you want to change something, just change it. Like, you have the power to get things done. It's a mindset. So I said, if I have this mindset, I wonder how many other people have the same sort of mindset, because we're stronger in numbers. And so I did a post on LinkedIn. A bunch of people said, Claude, I'm right there with you. What can we do to kind of get this change going? So it started as this kind of grassroots effort to help change the perception of San Diego. Now, over the last, and change the perception of San Diego as a tech hub or a tech ecosystem. Over the last 10 months, things have just sort of evolved. And, the same sort of principles that I've had with Elevate Foundation and being able to give back and help do transformation from that point of view to, what I'm doing with the practical leadership guy with being able to kind of share knowledge, expertise and talents to help other people succeed. It's these kind of, thoughts and values started to merge, and San Diego Tech Hub took on a new life where it's a business networking group, but it's also combined with, individuals that want to do social good. And so now, I'm trying to figure out, along with the community, is how do you marry the two together? Because people want help, they want jobs, they want to help, succeed in life and do some things. I mean, that's what we want. We want jobs, we want to make money, but you also have this compassion of people, that are established, but it feels good to kind of give back and inspire other folks. So, you asked me, where do I see San Diego Tech Hub going? My goal is, how can we help establish transformative change? Transformative change to me means if you have someone that has graduated college or is in career transition or got laid off and is looking for a job, it shouldn't be a pain in the ass in order to do that. I shouldn't have to kind of go through a tedious interview process. I should be able to get to know someone like I'm sitting here talking with you. This is how a conversation should be. And it should be like, man, you have the right skills for the jobs. Let's see what we can do to kind of make something happen. Like, I want to see a world like that. I want to see a world where, the knowledge that we have with one another, instead of keeping it to ourselves, how can we use it to help, elevate someone else, to help them get ahead, right? Because I feel like people are just a little bit selfish. Once you make it, you're not giving back. I'm not saying that's everybody, but I think that's the majority. Imagine a world where biased opinions don't come into a mix, where, if you don't look like me, if you don't talk like me, if you don't speak like me, that doesn't prevent you from actually getting ahead. Like, how can we help change that mindset? And I feel the more that we can work together, as a community, the more that we can sort of break down these silos, these biased opinions, and challenge the status quo to kind of not only get, create opportunity for each other, but also to help transform San Diego. So that's my mission and goal, man. And I feel like we're making baby steps towards that goal.
I fully agree with you when you talk about, it would be really great if, as just you said, people in transition, people coming out of school, if they have that network already in place that can really help them in getting to that next position. Because, typically what people do when it comes to getting, looking for work is they go online to the company's website and they go apply online. But if you do that, that's basically, the chance of success is pretty low from what I understand. And typically people get jobs from networking. That's, I think, the easiest and the best way to find work, as opposed to going on people's websites. So, the bigger, more, I guess, robust and helpful your network is, the better it is for you. And if San Diego Tech Hub is helping people in building that network, I see it as only beneficial.
Yeah, and I think the key is, as that network grows, how do you organize that network in an effective way? There are so many things happening within San Diego Tech Hub that I'm not even aware of, which is great. Connections are happening, things are flowing, but how do you really utilize that power in the most efficient way to create opportunity for all? So I think that's the biggest challenge that, at least that I'm thinking about with a few other folks on, how do we really help streamline this and organize the network.
For sure. And so, as I mentioned, I know of you through the San Diego Tech Hub, and typically at the meetings you speak. So I know how eloquent you are as a speaker, but I've also heard you speak at San Diego Startup Week for San Diego. And you did a great job there as one of the keynote presenters. Has public speaking always been easy for you? And if not, what have you done to get better at it?
I would say that I like to talk. People say I talk too much. And so, public speaking has always been an outlet for me, sort of growing up, on how to clearly articulate, my thoughts and my goals and what I needed to do. And, I think as I started entering into my leadership position, public speaking really started with team meetings, or, how did I need to set up, and provide clarity for my team to execute on the objectives that we needed to do. And whether it was on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis, coming up with ways of being able to inspire and motivate my teams. And so, through that practice, more and more public speaking, started coming, because I had to continue to kind of hone my messages. I was being pulled over here to kind of, speaker, Claude, can you provide some clarity in front of this group? So it started internally with, me being able to sort of communicate a message from a professional standpoint internally. But then, as I started being in a more philanthropy, sort of getting into that area, be able to motivate, students or other individuals to help inspire their goals and their dreams. And so it just kind of organically grew to where I'm at today.
Wow. When it comes to public speaking, for me, I'm glad that it came, you liked to talk when you were younger, and then you were able to transition that into your professional work. When I was a kid, I didn't like to talk at all. I'm not even a big talker now, but it really came to when I got my first job out here in California about 12 years ago, and I became a project lead, and I had to give presentations in front of management every month. And when I first took the job, I thought I was just going to be an engineer. I didn't have to talk to anybody, and I was cool with that. But when I was told I got to be a project lead, I had to talk in front of the CEO and all the senior management every month. You would have thought that learning that I would have at least practiced a little, but I didn't. I said I was gonna go up there and wing it, and man, that was the worst ever. Those first few presentations were absolutely horrible, Claude. I'm telling you. I didn't know it was possible to sweat that profusely as a human being, but man, it's coming out everywhere.
I'm telling you. Yeah. Hey, man, I was talking to some people, they said they would rather jump out of a plane than public speak. And, I'm not going to lie, on occasion, man, I get nervous from time to time. But, one of the key things that you mentioned is practice. And even though if I think I might know a subject just because I live it and breathe it, it's all about delivery, and, making sure that you have the proper structure, how you want to deliver that message and what you want to go on. And so practice is something that is an important aspect to that.
Yo, you are talking the gospel, Claude. When it comes, my public speaking has gotten exponentially better just from stopping, just when I stopped winging it and actually practice. And you're absolutely right. When you practice, it helps with just figuring out the best delivery. What should come first? What comes second? What comes third? Just what makes sense in logical sense in terms of presenting the information. And I got a lot better, and as I mentioned, I got a lot better at it when I started taking that more into account, as opposed to just getting up there and just winging it and just talking. And people wouldn't listen, and I get questions that I actually answered during the presentation, but because I didn't present it in a proper way, people didn't catch it while I was presenting, and it was terrible. It was horrible, Claude. It got a lot better.
It has, man. I mean, I've seen you speak before, and one of the things that I think I was reading a post that you had on LinkedIn, and one of the things that I thought was excellent advice that you mentioned is just to be you. And, because you have your own personality, you have your own way of delivering, and, you can still have a structure in place, but have some play within that structure, because if you come across too monotone or too robotic, that's going to show as well. So, if you have point A to point Z, play in between those lines, but still be your authentic self. So yeah, man, I remember reading that you had, and I thought that was, excellent advice.
Yeah, I give good advice every now and then, Claude. So when it comes to you putting your speech or your presentations together, do you have a process for it? And if so, what is it?
Yeah. So, I'm doing a talk. I'm doing a talk for San Diego State sometime next month. And, as part of that, the audience is going to be, the topic is going to be on entrepreneurship. So, the process that I take for that is, number one, I usually ask, my audience, like, who am I speaking to? What is the age range? Are they more mature or they're younger in their journey? What's going on to help me level set? And then that's going to allow me to create my outline, right? So, if it's these younger students that are just kind of getting involved, I might try to relate with my personal experience going up from me not knowing if I wanted to be an entrepreneur, what was the steps that I needed to take to get it. And so I start with some sort of story that, you know, the audience can relate to. Because I don't want to just come in with a whole bunch of facts, just try to relate to them on a more personal level. So that's usually what I start with. Understand the audience, understand the topic, understand the audience, and then kind of come up with a story that they can relate to. Second, I start covering the core points that I want them to get out of the talk, right? Because at the end of the day, they need to get something tangible so that they can apply in their day-to-day life. And so based on the topics that I want them to get out of it, I'll start building my talk around that. And so, you know, I like to have, you know, introduce the topic, what we're going to do, and have a practical example. So whether that practical example is a personal example, where there might be something, or a personal example that I've experienced, something that they might experience, some fictitious thing that I might make up, but they could relate to, and then sort of tie that back to sort of the learning. And so I try to keep things in threes. You know, any more than that, you know, you get information overload with folks. I try to kind of have these lessons in about threes to fours. And then
go ahead. Sorry.
And then I wrap up with sort of a summary and, you know, sort of a, you know, a life lesson for them to kind of to get away with. And that formula tends to work well. Now, within that formula, there's different ways of delivering that. And so it just depends on, hey, are you taking more of a delivery where, you know, I might be, you know, the person that is coming from adversity and then I'm rising up and overcoming that adversity, or, you know, I might be the hero in the story, and how am I going through and, you know, attacking, you know, the various villains that might exist. And so I kind of put a layer, just depending on how I want to deliver and sort of what's going on, I kind of change up the style and the theme of how I'm trying to deliver that message.
You know, that sounds like, you know, that sounds like it makes sense. I'm a big fan of personal stories, because people can relate to them. When you were a child, perhaps your mom or your dad read you a bedtime story, you loved it. It's not as if when you became an adult, you stopped liking stories. But I find, especially in the tech space, we get away from that because I guess we see it as, I guess, non-technical. But yeah, it's a great way to keep people engaged in what you're talking about. I've thoroughly I enjoy it. I enjoy talking about, you know, things that have happened to me. And not only that, it's easy to remember because it happened to you. It's not like something that you gotta, you know, kind of think in your mind what happened. You know exactly what happened.
Exactly, man. And that's the secret right there. Like when you can pull practical experiences, number one, it makes you relatable. You know, a lot of times people get up there and they think you're untouchable and look at this person. But when you can break things down, you know, to a level to where it's like, man, you've been through that too. Like that's when you know that, you know, you can engage with the audience, because now you become more approachable, you become more human, you know, so.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, that's the story I talk about, you know, my first few speeches at my first job, or my second job, I guess, my first job in California. People definitely can relate to it, especially, you know, just not doing all that well at it at first. And it's easy for me to recall because it left a great impression. I mean, I haven't sweat that bad in my life. I'm telling you, the dry cleaning bills are ridiculous. I mean, shirts are not supposed to be this wet unless you like jumped into a lake or something. It's crazy. But you know, this has been a real treat. Thanks again for agreeing to do this, Claude. Do you have anything else that you'd like to tell the people about things that you're working on?
You know, I think, you know, keep on the lookout for San Diego Tech Hub. I think, you know, we're trying to do some great things. We have a meeting coming up October 29th of this month, or the 29th of this month, which is great. And, you know, for all those that, you know, follow Neil's, you know, podcast, you know, you're doing great work, man. I think it's an excellent thing that you're doing, really, to kind of take a niche market to helping geeks sort of speak in public. I know it is a pain point for a lot of folks, and I think, you know, the techniques and things that you're outlining, you know, are definitely going to be beneficial to those that need to be able to kind of help accelerate their career, because it is an important part to be able to public speak and relate to other folks.
For sure. I mean, the whole idea of me putting it, you know, the course and everything together, was just came from my own struggles and getting better at it, because I saw the utility in, you know, being someone that works in the tech, you know, working in STEM, but still being able to talk to people, especially people outside of STEM. Because, you know, when you're in school, you're basically around other engineering or science students. When you get into the workforce, you're around everybody, marketing, sales, you know, and all the other groups, and you have to communicate with them, and just using a whole bunch of buzzwords and it's just and technical jargon. That's not going to cut it.
That's right. People will go through that in a heartbeat, man.
Yeah, you know, what ends up happening is, you know, people just tune out. They won't even listen. They'll stare out into space. They'll look on their phones. They'll talk amongst each other. I mean, those are the type of things that were happening during my first few presentations, and I saw it. I'm looking out there. I'm like, man, I'm messing up.
You're bombing, man.
I'm bombing hard. Yeah, man. But this has been great again. So how can people contact you, Claude?
Well, you can reach me at Claude@SanDiegoTechHub.com. You can go to ClaudeJones.me, and that'll link over to the Practical Leadership Guy. Or you can always find me on LinkedIn and check me out and follow me and just kind of see what's going on. Excellent.
So that's Claude@SanDiegoTechHub.com. Again, that's Claude@SanDiegoTechHub.com, and also ClaudeJones.me. Is that right?
That's right.
Excellent. Well, everybody, this marks the end of another episode of Teach the Geek Interviews. My name is Neil Thompson. I'm the founder of Teach the Geek. It's an online platform for science and engineering professionals. The first offering of the platform is a public speaking course called Teach the Geek to Speak. To learn more about it, you can go to teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. Until next time, please take care.
All right. Thanks, Neil.
All right.